I bring our meeting forward, please. And open this our council meeting for May the 24th. Before I do our opening and welcome, I would like to welcome Mr. Dave Walker as our Chief Corporate,
Acting General Manager.
Acting General Manager, Mr. Holly Smith, to the new role, and Andre to the new role. Welcome, and I wish you well in the endeavours of this council to move forward with the new structure. Thank you, welcome. Darting prayer councillors, we give thanks to the contribution of our pioneers, early settlers, and to those who fought in the various wars for the fabric of Tetherfield community we have today. May the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be accepted as eyesight, O Lord. Amen. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land who are meeting on today. I would also like to pay respect to the elders both past and present of the Chucklehook, Milroy, and Bundjalung nations, and extend that respect to other Aboriginal peoples present. Thank you. No apologies, councillors, everybody's here. Disclosures and declarations of interest, councillors? None. Councillors, confirmation of the minutes of our previous meeting. If someone who was in attendance at that meeting like to move that they are a true and correct record?
This is the last one you made?
Yes, councillor, yes. Councillor Ron Petrie, thank you. Second, please. Councillor Michael Petrie, thank you. All in favour? All in favour, I'm sorry. Against? Thank you. Tabling of documents. No tabling documents, councillors. Thank you. Sorry. Urgent late supplementary items of business. Councillors, we have two addendums to deal with. One is in the open meeting, the other is to be dealt with in confidential. Can I have a move and a second to deal with those two addendums, please? Councillor Mike Petrie, I thank you. Second, please.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to put the second addendum, the one that's beheaded in Commons, I want to put that back. I've just found out what that contains, and this is not enough time for consideration. So I want that put back to an extraordinary meeting.
Councillor, what I'll do is take on board what you said. Move it forward, but it's got to be dealt with in confidential, and you're quite entitled to deal with that, with what you're flagging when we do it in confidential. I think that's more appropriate place is during the meeting that we do it then. If you wish to move that way. Okay, so I'll go back to what I started. We have two addendum items, councillors, two items to be held public, and one is in confidential. Can I have a move in a second to deal with this? I have Councillor Mike Petrie to move it. Thank you, Councillor Petrie. A second, please. Councillor Brian Petrie, thank you. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. So
Yes.
So councillors, to do with the two that we need to deal with in public, in the open meeting, I'm sorry. First one is page 3 of the first addendum. Councillors, everybody's got a copy of the addendum that we've just approved to deal with. We've got two items to deal with here. Okay. I'll ask the question. Everybody's got a copy? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The addendum. The two first ones.
I was a question of what
Where
you get acceptance to.
Yeah, that's better.
And then you don't deal with the
Okay.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know you proceeded.
I apologise, I've been giving the wrong advice, councillors, that we won't deal with them now, we'll deal with them in our normal procedure to do it once we go through the open council reports. Is that correct? I apologise, councillors. Okay. That's that. Community consultation, councillors, we do have to do with a matter we deal with in the early part of our business paper, councillors. We do have, I'm sorry, councillor Petrie.
I just had a question in relation to additional urgent business.
Additional urgent business.
This is where we can bring forward urgent business.
That is correct.
I would like an item of urgent business regarding council interaction with staff policy being reinstated prior to that was in place prior to the general manager email of the 10th of May as an item of urgent business. Thank you.
So we'll deal with that when we get to the normal process to do with that meeting.
Which you call for urgent business.
Yeah, I'll start again. Urgent relates something items of business. I'll move it, and it's been moved and seconded both on council that the admin items be dealt with. So councillor Petrie, Roman Petrie, I apologise, that you have another urgent and late supplementary items of business. Okay. To be dealt with in that part.
Yeah, just as an addition.
Okay. Okay. Is it tabled, councillor, or is it just going to be brought forward as a motion?
I'm ready for this an urgent business item. Yes. And I have to put it in I'll treat it as a motion.
Right. Well, I accept that, councillor. Okay. Okay, councillor. We move on to community consultation. To do with an item we've got in our normal order of business, we have a speaker, Mr. Bob Rogan, on item COM4/17, lease of land, proposed archery club. Councillors, please come forward, Mr. Rogan. And would you like to stand, please, and welcome the visitor to our chamber? Thank you, councillors. Welcome, Mr. Rogan. And the normal procedure, Mr. Rogan, is you have 5 minutes, but feel comfortable and away you go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, councillors, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of this little talk, there'll be a short, maybe 30-second video clip that will reinforce what I've been talking about and explain field archery, how it's conducted in the field. Firstly, field archery, we believe, would be beneficial to the Tenterfield community because it would provide another choice for a local sporting outlet. There's something different, and interest for it is already high in the area. It's suitable for a wide range of age groups, right from school-aged children through to seniors. It's a family-friendly sport, comparatively inexpensive, and for those that are new to it, reasonably priced equipment can be sourced from a local business. It encourages fitness and will get families enjoying the outdoors together and provide a positive social outcome. The club that we have is affiliated with a national association, and as per their policies, we would liaise with local schools, other community groups in regard to introducing local young people to the sport of archery. With a view to building further membership later on, the club would also hold public come and try days for the people of the Shire. There are long-term benefits as well. The club would become part of a national list of clubs entitled to hold inter-club events that would bring people to the community for a period normally of a weekend. Many of those would stay to take in the tourist attractions of the Shire afterwards. Long-term benefits to families shouldn't be underestimated either, as field archery is one of only a handful of sports where the whole family can participate together, and many children have grown up in this sport, and it keeps families together socially for a longer period of time. Environmentally, field archery has a minimal impact. It only consists of clearing walking trails, not to bare earth or anything like that, just cleared of trip hazards, and target lanes need a clear line of sight, and that's all there is. There would be, that's the field courses, there would be a few amenities required, a lock-up container, a shade shelter and a toilet block, and that's all. The existing out at the land in question is a vehicle track that would be used for maintenance purposes, and no other vehicle access is required. There's an area there already existing that's cleared suitable for parking. Okay, as for impact on neighbours, once again, minimal. There would be a minor increase in traffic on weekends only, and that would just consist of a handful of vehicles needing to access the site once in and once out. Maybe 5 or 6 vehicles over about an hour period at the beginning of the day, and the same again later on. In conclusion, I'd just like to say that we believe the introduction of field archery to Tinderfield would be a good fit for the community. Not only would it provide fitness benefits for families and individuals alike, it represents another great social opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roden. Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Roden. Councillors, we'll afford you the opportunity to allow a couple of questions to Mr. Roden if you wish while he's there. Are you comfortable with that, Mr. Roden?
Yep.
Questions? Councillor Berry?
Mr. Roden, I'm disappointed you said there are only 5 or 6 cars. I was happy with my 60 cars.
Just to explain what I really meant by that, I was talking about environmental impact, not the number of people accessing the site. About 18 months ago, we did a trial out at the Sporting Shooters Club with about 10 targets on a field course. We held on two consecutive Sundays, come and try days. Those numbers put together exceeded 90 people. It was massive for this community. That's why we know the interest is here. When people go out you can't pull a boat back up a couple of hundred times all day for 8 hours. People normally go out there for 1 or 2 hours at a time. And that's what I mean. You might get 2 or 3 cars coming in the morning, another couple at morning tea time, another couple at lunchtime, and so on.
Thank you, Mr. Roden. Any other questions to ask Mr. Roden to do with his presentation? No? Thank you, councillors, and thank you, Mr. Roden. I'm sorry, is the video on now? I apologise.
The archers move through the course, shooting and scoring each target. Senior archers move from the red marker, juniors from the green, and beginners shoot from the yellow marker. In the first round, if an archer misses with the first shot, a second arrow can be shot. If that misses, the third and final arrow can be used. The score lowers with each extra arrow shot on the target. In the second round of the day, only 1 arrow can be used on each target.
Yes, thank you.
Councillor Bromwich. Councillor Bromwich, I'm sorry, Mr. Roden. We have a late question. Do you have a question to do with the presentation?
Thank you. I was just wondering how it works. Like after you shoot your 3 arrows, does everyone then go back to some point so people can go and retrieve just a safety thing? And the second question is just regarding weeds, etc. Would the archery club take care of any weeds came up?
Well,
If I can answer the second bit first. The Granby question has been used previously, decades ago, believers have done, as a landfill. And there's been some, what appears to be continued rubbish dumping out there illegally, I suspect. So we believe our presence out there would overall tidy the place up. And yes, we would monitor the growth of things that don't belong there and keep the place in good condition. But we need it to stay as natural as possible. People that access the field courses, there are strict rules and protocols, and they're only allowed on the walking trails. We believe that our presence would be beneficial to the environment out there overall.
Part the same time.
Yeah, so safety part, sorry, what was the first part?
How do you retrieve your arrows? Like,
yeah, okay.
If you can imagine golf, you have a small group, 3 or 4 people under control of group captain, designated, rules to follow. everyone shoots from the shooting peg, and when the whole group has finished shooting, then they all move together under the captain's control. The scoring is done, the arrows are removed, and then they move out of the safety arc and around to the next shooting peg for the next target.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rowe. Councillors, thank you again, Mr. Rowe, and thank you, councillors, for the questions to do with the presentation. Councillors, in the order of business, we move into a Merrill minute. I do have a Merrill minute. It is item MM2/17, Fit for the Future Innovation Fund. New South Wales Government has allocated $4 million in innovation grants aimed at helping rural councils with populations of less than 10,000 important new ways of working. The fund is targeted program to support small councils in regional New South Wales to develop new ideas and innovative ways of working to improve the performance and benefit their communities. The recommendations there, councillors, I've moved it as a Merrill minute. Happy to take a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Berry. Councillors,
Mr. Mayor,
yes, Councillor McNish.
we can't find it.
It's in the agenda items, Councillor. So it is. It's on page 5. Thank you, Councillor McNish. So, Councillor, I'll go to start to Merrill minute. I've moved to Merrill minute. I have a seconder in Councillor Berry. The recommendations there, councillors. I'll just finish, Councillor Brian Petrie, thank you. I'm happy to take questions. I have moved it and it has been seconded. The recommendation that council endorse an application submission of round 2 of the Innovative Fund to the value of $150,000. 2, that the project be developed within an adopted resourcing strategy supporting the objectives contained in Council's integrated planning and framework. And 3, final sign-off of the project design be delegated to Chief Executive. Councillor, it adds on with the in the report to do with the if I can take the time to do with the already with the application was successful, to do with the meeting coming from the 24th of February 2016, resolved to make application to value of $140,000 Fit for the Future Innovation Fund, support the project titled Staff Capability Development. This was successful. Council were successful in getting that fund with a co-contribution of 30%. This is a similar thing, an add-on, and that's where it's come from. So I'm happy to take questions, and I'll also involve the Chief Executive of Corporate, Kylie Smith, to answer any questions. Councillors? Councillor Forbes.
Just a quick one, Mayor, I'd like you to explain, where did we get the term change to Chief Executive and General Manager? When did that come back and why did it come about?
From a resolution of council to do with the adoption of the new structure back in November last year, council.
And those terms were used for?
Always in the report, council. So once again, councillors, that's the report I've put up. Councillor Bronwyn Petrie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just wondering if we could get a summary on what the previous monies were used for. I know it was for staff training, but we don't know how many staff involved. I know some training was done away, a lot of training was done in-house, on the premises basically. It would be of use to council to have that information. And also precisely what this money is meant for.
I'll hand over to our Chief Executive, Mr. David Wolf, which referred to the company, GM.
GM, I don't want to cause any friction, but I've had
No.
38 years as GM, so I'm used to GM.
Right, Mr. GM, as we go on.
Mr. Mayor, through you, thank you. My understanding is the government's put out a call for these grants with a very short time frame, and if we don't get a resolution to apply for the grant, which is a resolution, we won't be able to apply. But in the short time frame we've had, and I've only been here a couple of days, we haven't put together a plan yet, but the proposal would be to put something together and put it back to council. The main thing is I think we have to put our nose in there first to say we're interested, and if they're interested in giving us money, we have to get a plan, what we use the money for, and be matter for council and sign off. It's just a matter of urgency. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And thank you, Mr. Jen, for the reply. Councillors, it is in that report to do with the, when this round 2 closes. That's important, that's why I bought it. Please respect that as a mayoral minute. Closes on the 9th of June. To Ms Smith and your new role, I commend you on working really hard on this last week and getting this to council today, and it's appropriate that it's here. So I do thank you, and I'd like to have that noted. Councillors, any more questions to do with this report? Councillor McNish.
Yeah, just one, Mr Mayor, if we support this motion and we can't find a suitable project, are we tied down to it?
I'll hand over to our, the acting GM.
No, we would have to then relinquish the grant, but that wouldn't look real good for future applications. So I'd have to make sure as acting GM that we come up with something. We'd have to come back to council with the project.
It just seems to me, Mr GM, that we're just, because there's money is there, no, we're putting 30%, we're just grabbing it because it's there, rather than having a defined need for it at this stage.
Mr Mayor, I suppose in some ways that is true, but the difficulty is we've only got to the 9th of June to make a decision, and I understand your next council meeting not till sometime after the 20th of June. So if we don't at least, we might put our hand up for the money and we might not be successful. But my concern is if I don't bring it to council's attention, and then council finds out later down the track that adjoining councils have received the money, question to me, General Manager, is why didn't you bring it in front of council?
Thank you.
Councillors, any more questions to do the report? Councillors, the recommendations there, all in favour of the recommendation? Against? Carried. Thank you, councillors. Councillors, we move on in the order of business to recommendations for items to be considered in confidential section. Councillors, we have item 10.1. The adoption of minutes of a confidential extraordinary meeting held on 11th May 2017 be deferred until after completion of the confidential workshop to be held today. So what does mean in council that we hold it over? We do the workshop now. We will do it. It's a confidential workshop, okay? And then we come back and move into the rest of the agenda. So I think it's important that we that the workshop is held for any questions or clarity to do what I offered to go back to that with that extraordinary meeting, which was accepted by council, and we have the workshop before we move forward. That's what I'm moving, councillors.
It was on the agenda this afternoon.
No, it doesn't say that, councillors. What the resolution is from the meeting, the independent person, I need to make amendment when we get there. From legal counsel, from Office of Local Government, the amendment will be Local Government New South Wales to be engaged to advise legal matters in a workshop with councillors.
With respect, Mr Mayor, the email we got the other day said that the workshop would be this afternoon after the conclusion of council business. If council business is not completed, then it would be deferred at the workshop and then continue council business.
I appreciate that, councillor, but I'm putting this forward that we have it now. Obviously, it's got to be voted on by council, so that's what I'm doing. Yep, by all means, councillor Petrie. Bromley Petrie.
Well, I'm just concerned about the time that may take, and we have a considerable number of members of the public here who'll have to go away and twiddle their thumbs until we finish.
Yes,
so I'm just wondering if we should proceed with the other items, the open items, and then move into the
That's the decision of council. That's the decision of council. That's what we're about. So I'll go back to what I'm suggesting, okay? That the workshop be held now. But I need a motion to say the workshop's not held now, it's held after all the other business to be held in open council, and then we have it before that we move into confidential. Yes? Moved by Bromley Petrie, you happy with that? No, bear with me, councillors, we're working to get this right. The adoption of confidential minutes. What I put forward is that to be deferred after completion of confidential workshop, okay? But you're wanting to have the workshop after we do everything in the open meeting. Okay? Yeah. Yes, and before we go into confidential. Councillor McNish?
I'll second that.
Yep. Okay. So it's been moved by Councillor Bromley Petrie, seconded by Councillor McNish. Okay. Adoption of confidential minutes extraordinary meeting would be held Thursday, 11th May 27, be deferred to the confidential workshop to be held after items in the opening meeting and before the confidential section. Held in the open meeting and before, so that's saying that we're going to have the workshop after we deal with items in the open meeting. Okay? And before the confidential section. Okay, to repeat myself, it's been moved by Councillor Bronwyn Petrie, second by Councillor John McNish. All in favour? Okay. I do apologise to welcome Mr. Bruce McCann. Bruce is here today from Local Government New South Wales. Welcome, Bruce. And councillors, please afford Bruce the same welcome as we move through our meeting. Okay. That would deal with all those items in after the workshop.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Acting GM. Councillors, I need a motion that we deal with items 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 after we have the workshop. As part of the confidential section. Thank you, Mr. Acting GM. Can I move and second that? Councillor Berry, I thank you. Second, Councillor Peters, and I thank you. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you, councillors. Okay. So, councillors, we move on to do with our with the agenda. We'll open council to do with reports. The first report, councillor, in your hard copy is on page 8. It's item COM 3/17. It's a draft disability inclusion action plan. Got to move in a second to deal with this item, please. Councillor John Martin, I thank you. Seconded by Councillor Greg Sawyer. I thank you. And I'll hand over to our Chief Corporate Officer to present this report. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. So we have a report table for a recommendation from Council that we adopt a draft of the Disability Inclusion Action Plan. This plan has been prepared by staff previously, and I'd like to give certainly a lot of credit to Diane Clayton for her development of that report. So I'll put those recommendations to Council that they adopt the draft Disability Inclusion Plan as attached and place the document on public exhibition for a period of 20 minutes.
Thank you, and councillors, the recommendations there. Through myself as chair, any questions to the corporate officer to do with this report? Councillor Berry.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I think it's got to go to the actual engineer on this question. It's on page 7 in the first attachment booklet. Action says ensure access requirements for people with disabilities are considered in all projects for pedestrian facilities and walking tracks. My question is, was the inclusion of rail trails considered as footpath upgrades?
Just for some clarity for myself, Councillor Berry, the inclusion of a
Rail trail.
rail trail.
Yeah, that's like those little tiles you've got out in the car park and leading on the down to the on the pedestrian walkway and everything.
Oh, okay.
Little
Right, thank you.
Yeah.
Just push your microphone on.
Councillor, we have to take that on notice that at this stage, our understanding of the report is that there's been obviously a review, but to the extent that review is to be confirmed.
Thank you.
Take it on board and make sure that happens.
Thank you. Councillor Bronwyn, thank you. A question to do with the report?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's just in relation for disabled people and that ramp out the front here of this park. Is there any consideration as to what can be done to fix it so that people with, that's what you haven't been here, there is a drama with the turning circle or lack thereof. So the motorised vehicles that come around, we've had a case where a vehicle was stuck and incurred $1,000 in damage, and just the poor design of that ramp space, and just wondering if that can be looked at within the next 28 days, how that can be amended at least cost but most efficiency, so that it becomes an effective and safe ramp.
Mr. Mayor, I get the engineering staff to have a look at and see what modifications required. except even from a non-disabled person that is very tempting to go across the lawn rather than around the corner.
Thank you, Mr. Acting GM. Councillor, any more questions to do with the report? No? Officer's recommendations there, council. All happy to accept? In favour? Against? Carried. Thank you, councillors. Councillors, we move on to page 10. It's item COM4/17, Civil Structure and Environment Regulations, Solicitor Council Land, proposed archery club. Can I have a move and a second to deal with this item, please? Councillor Sawyer, I thank you. Seconded by Councillor Forbes, and I thank you. I'll hand over to the Chief Corporate Officer to do his strategic plan and environmental services to present the report.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I think it's one.
Thank you. Andre, operation. I apologise, Andre. It's early days and we will get there.
That's $3,000 you
Yeah, all good.
Yes, councillors, you've had a submission this morning, or a presentation, I should say, by a member of the public as to where the reasons for this particular proposal and what benefits might come out of it. What the community is seeking to do is basically add another service, another facility out there, and it would appear that it's absolutely minimal cost and impost upon council to make available its land, certainly for a 5-year lease period of Point Bay. I've had discussions with the respective manager on how we might deal with this the long term, and that's certainly been mirrored into this report by virtue of after 5 years we can reassess the financial situation. And certainly when it comes to dealing with the agreement that we have with the people, certainly there's clauses that will have to be wrapped into that agreement to make sure that the council is not taking on an increased burden of obligation and its risk profile. So I would commend this report to the
Thank you, to Andre. I do want to know, Councillor, before I ask for any questions, the work that's gone in here from Dave Stewart and all your staff to do with the department. Thank you, Dave, for the work and the wonderful job you do. Councillors, any questions to do with this report? Councillor Petrie, and I'll take Peters. I apologise. We have Penny, Petries and Peters. So start again, Councillor Peters, and I'll go to you, Councillor Petrie. Promise.
Just a quick question, I don't care who answers it. Public liability, I imagine public liability, how much you read to know?
Acting GM.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, any lease documentation would be subject to appropriate public liability. Very much across the requirement for that.
Councillor Bronwyn Petrie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did read that. I think they've got 25 million.
Yeah. Saw something.
But my question was just that once the lease was done, I presume that rates and the waste levy would be applicable to the land.
Mr. Mayor, through you, having spent here for 48 hours, I need to look at more detail as what is proposed to go into the lease, and then it'll be a matter for council to have to sign off on that lease document. And if a requirement is that it becomes rateable land, that would be a condition of the lease.
Can I, through you, with respect, Mr. Acting GM, to hand over to Mr. Stewart, Dave, could you, if you've got some, can answer that, or?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In relationship to leases, like a house, you lease it out to a town, the landlord is responsible for the rates and water charges. Council.
Thank you, Doug. Councillor Berry, I'll come to you, Councillor Mike Petrie.
I just wish to speak for the archery club to keep this land. Stand-up's had one for years, not very far from where I live, and it's worked successfully, so I can't see why this one wouldn't work successfully.
Is that in Jennifer Shire or in Southern Downs, Councillor? Thank you. Councillor Mike Petrie. I'll come to you then, Councillor McNish.
I reckon it'd be a great thing for the town like that country up there to be sitting there idle for as long as I was a kid. It's been there 70, 80, 100 years. No one did a thing with it. I reckon it'd be the greatest thing out for us.
Nearly give your age away, Councillor.
As long as I was there.
Thank you for your comment, Councillor Michael Petrie. Councillor McNish.
I think it's a great idea, Mr Mayor, let's not put too many hurdles in their way. We've got to think back to about 2 councils ago with the Tom Club. We gave them a little bit of land down in Millbrook Park. It's been very, very successful. Just got a good number of cars there on a Thursday afternoon. And all they do is look after their little tiny area, and like, knowing Bob and Marion, I couldn't see any problems out there whatsoever. We cloud the issue with things like leases and rates and all that sort of stuff. We just make it hard when we don't need to. So let's just pass it as it is and cross the T's and dot the I's as they come up.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillors, any more questions or to the senior staff or through our acting GM to do this report? To wrap it up, councillors, I think that to totally agree with the comments that have been made, of course it is, and we should be supportive of, especially to do with families and to do with physical activity. It's appropriate the council support these things, and I wish them well. So in the process that they face to set this up. Councillors, recommendations there. 1, 2, all in favour of the recommendation? Against? Carried. Thank you, councillors.
No, that's unanimous.
Councillor Brolin, thank you. No problems at all. Okay, councillors, we move on to page 13 in your hard copy. It's item EC 0417, Timber Construction Environment Regulation, unknown right of carriageway over the drive Tabular. We have a move and a second to deal with this item, please. Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Councillor Berry, I thank you. Second, please. Councillor Michael Petrie, I thank you. I'll hand over to our new corporate officer to do with engineering services. Andre. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillors, this report is just effectively due process being carried out. As the report indicates, that when you want to basically bring attention to a locality for emergency services purposes or for locating you otherwise through the postal services, people do like to have a name of a road as opposed to where it's some undesignated location. The reality of it is this is all about emergency services and identification support for them. So we've got to go through a process. We've been through that process, and I would commend the way forward as mentioned.
Thank you, Andre. Councillors, questions to do with the report to the Chief Officer? Councillor Berry?
That's not a question of observation. I just wish these people would come up with a more appropriate name, something a bit more imaginative.
Councillor Bromlin, Petrie?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just through the process, I see that there were 3 names suggested, and then council staff went to the geographical names board. But I don't see that those 3 names were then put back to the property owners for their preferred name, as happened recently with the Larrases Lane. All the names were suggested. They did the geographical name board check. Then the ones that were acceptable to the geographical naming board went back to the property owners to comment on which their preferred ones were. Now, did that happen? Because that step is missing here in the report.
Councillor, just to hop in before I go to you, please. I thought I'm only reading off our agenda, that following the council engineering officer liaised with the geographical names board, who checked the lane names against the parameters such as the duplication.
That's right. But then the next step after that we've experienced is that those names, like originally there might have been 6 names or something,
right.
The 3 that were then had been ticked off by the geographical naming people, did they then go back to the property owners for them to pick which of the 3 they preferred?
Andre, please respect. Councillors, the new officers have been here for 1 week and then 2 days, so please respect the reply. I say that with respect, Andre.
Through the chair, this report indicates, as you rightly observed, right, perhaps has been jumping at the steps. I am none the wiser as to whether that's actually a fact or not. Having said that, though, I looked at this closely when I read the report and noticed that there are issues with potential clashes and confusion between existing names, and it would appear that on that basis alone, there was only one real name that was potentially unique for the area. So, yeah, look, I didn't see that as an issue one way or another.
Thank you, Andre.
Well, I actually do. When we've had trouble before about lack of consultation, and I would hate us to be seen again as being arrogant. And personally, Rocky Ridge Lane's quite different to Rocky River Road. Just the word Rocky, there's two other words completely different. And I'm just wondering whether we can possibly defer this item until that is checked, that the affected property owners were consulted after the geographical naming board check, so that we are not doing the wrong thing by those people and then having them end up with Granite Road if perhaps they don't.
Councillor, being chair of the meeting, rather than defer, it's not even in the meeting procedure. We would adjourn a decision, can leave it lay on the table. I'm not moving it, I'm just suggesting that the decision be adjourned until maybe the next meeting with respect to our new decisions, and they come back to the next meeting with the report. Is that what you'd like to do? I'm not putting words in your mouth, Councillor.
I'm happy to adjourn, I just want to make sure people are probably consulted before they elect whoever with the name.
I apologise, Councillor Martin, we were in not a debate and conversation here to try and clarify something. So we have got a motion there, but do you want to speak on the report, Councillor?
Yes. My understanding of the council's policy is that after the initial suggestions of what the name is that we advertise that particular name. We call it submissions from the public in general. Okay, the people on the street have priority, but other people outside that may want to put a suggestion up. That's in the policy.
Thank you, Councillor, but we'll deal with this. I'll go back to, and I note your comments, and obviously with respect to our new positions that we'll work with there. Councillor, I'll go back to what we're going to do here. Councillor Braun-Petrie indicating that decision, and it can be either, it can either lay on the table or adjourn to the next meeting in June. Is that what you're moving?
Yes, that will suit me, thank you. I just think out of respect for the people.
So it's been moved by Councillor Braun-Petrie. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Peters. Thank you, Councillor. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you, councillors. Okay, councillors, we move on to page 17 in your hard copy. It's item ENV 5/17, Planning and Development Update. Can I have a move and a seconder to deal with these items, please? Councillor Sawyer, I thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Brian Murray, I thank you. I'll hand over to Andre, to Chief Officer of Services to deal with this item. Thank you. Present this item, I should say.
Through the chair, when I read this report, as you're aware, I've been 2 days. This report is obviously prepared regularly, giving an update and just what is the status of applications, what is currently outstanding, and basically where things are at. So, to the extent that it needs to change in due course, well, I'll certainly take advice on that. But it's being presented as I understand, it's normally being presented today, so I'll just committed to you the status of where things are at.
Report's been commended, and thank you, Andre. Councillor, any questions? No questions? The officer's recommendations there to receive and note the report. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you, councillors. As always, councillors, be aware that we can hard copy go from page 17 to page 22, which is still, 23 is your next item. So on page 23, councillors, it's item ENB 6/17, results of the survey Mount Lizzie Roadways Collection Service. I'll move in a second, please, councillors, to deal with this item. Councillor Michael Petrie, I thank you. Seconded by Councillor John Martin, and I thank you. And once again, I'll hand over to the Chief Officer to present this report. Thank you, councillors.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This report is a consequence of a trial, as I understand it, of a waste collection service at Mount Lizzie Road. There was a survey that was undertaken, and the contents of the report spells out what that survey alluded to and advised. What the report doesn't really speak to very clearly about is just what the situation is with regards to the costs of providing this service and the cost on council, if any. The reality of it, when the costing was done, we had income, or potential income from providing the service of approximately 55,000, and the marginal costs of to council providing the service are close enough to 18,000. So, in a nutshell, there's a net benefit to council continuing to provide the service. So, from a financial point of view, certainly the way forward would be from a council perspective, is to provide the service. I would suggest to you from an environmental point of view, it's probably a good thing to continue the service, notwithstanding that some people may or may not want the service. The reality is the council truck does go past that area, and just like water and sewer, if the money goes past the area, you pay a fee for having that service. So I see this as one of those things that we perhaps need to work with the community on a little bit more. If they haven't received things or things are going missing, well, then that's an issue for ongoing dialogue with the community to make the service work. But otherwise, I would commend continuation of the service to you.
Thank you. Councillors, questions or to do with the report? Just so we're all quite aware, councillors, there's an officer's recommendation there. This is what we're looking for to come out, okay? And please bear with us, this is how I deal with things. One is the council determine whether to provide or discontinue. So we make a decision today, that's what they're asking for. If the decision is, and I'm just going through this, to provide or discontinue, and two, needs to be taken into council's any operational plan 21780 need to be altered to reflect this position. So what's going to come out of this is a position. So we're either going forward or not. Okay? So thank you, and thank you for letting this chair to just make that clear to everyone. We're determining something to do with this. I'll come to you, Councillor Petrie. Councillor Berry.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to talk about the survey. 155 forms were sent out, 119 returned. And given the extreme publicity in the area by the No campaign, one would feel that 36 that did not reply must have wanted the service or did not care. 66 from these we read from question 2, 13 are absentee landholders. I don't feel guilty at all about saying absentee landholders should contribute something towards the Shire. So this takes the number back to 53, so it's yes 52, no 53, so it's a blind ball call there. From the answers to question 2 and 3, we can see they really don't add up to the yes or no vote. So the only information we can really take from the question is that 13 absentee landholders do not want the bins. Then we have the reply. Bin was removed, as well as we did not receive a bin. So really, we have no real indication of dissatisfaction or satisfaction with the survey because of the way it was dealt with by the public and Newsham Council.
Thank you, Councillor Berry. Councillor Mike Booper, you've indicated you want to speak.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to back the Director Andres up on his say, on what he said about the thing. I think that when the truck's running up there, the people that do want it shouldn't miss out on the few that don't want it. I don't think it's like the environment today, you've got to try and keep the country clean, and rubbish has got to be picked up and it's got to be recycled and everything else. I think we should just go ahead with it. Michelle, my idea of things. If the people that don't want it, well, they can just still pay the things. They don't want the service, just top it, that's all. There's other people that do need things. And they want it, so they want it.
Thank you, Councillor Petrie. Councillor Martin.
I'd like to raise a motion that a fees and charge item be added to the revenue policy for residents who require the waste collection, similar to the fees and charges items for the provision of bulk bins. Basically because the provision of bulk bins isn't mandatory, so why should the provision of the waste collection service be mandatory when the truck runs by there anyway?
Councillor Martin, just bear with me. So I'm taking that and I'm asking for advice from our acting GM. So acting GM, that would be referred to as an amendment, because we have a officer's recommendation in front of us.
Through you, Madam Mr. Mayor. Sorry, I haven't lady me last, sorry. There is an officer's recommendation in front of you, but it has not been moved.
Yes.
So if it has not been moved, what Councillor
Martin
has just put up is now the motion.
Okay.
Amendment, because the recommendation hasn't been moved or seconded yet. So,
Okay.
but that's now that's been put up becomes the recommendation.
Okay.
The motion.
So Councillor Martin has put up the, and Councillor Destaire. Is there a seconder for that motion? Councillor Berry. Okay. In fairness, Councillor Martin, you put up the motion. Do you want to speak to the motion? Would you like to speak to the motion you put up?
Okay. Well, as I was saying,
Microphone, Councillor, it's not on. Thank you.
as I was saying, I agree with Mike Petrie that those people who want it should be able to have it, and that there's the truck runs by there, and why can't it be just like a normal fees and charges item instead of being a mandatory item? Same as the provision of the bulk bins for people, sort of doing work on their house.
Councillor, before I go to the second of Councillor Berry, just so I get it clear, so mainly what you're saying is the user pays.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Berry, you're the second of the motion. Do you want to speak to the motion?
Yes, it's very easy to speak for the service to continue. I don't know if all of you read some of the emails that were sent to us, but on the health grounds, I think it's very important because there's people that need the service from, I don't like to say it, but incontinence pads, etc., for children, adults, etc. And in our area, I think there's, I'm just going to the disability plan, I think there's 22% or something like that of our shire are disabled or live at home disabled. So we'd be no different to the rest of Tenterfield. And when you've got a working couple living at home, they've got no time to run to the dump. Some people have got to travel up to 60 k's to the dump. And on the negative side, people just don't want the service, they just say no to it. So that's their argument. So I'm happy for the service to continue. I'm happy for the service to continue along the way Councillor Martin's proposed, either way.
Well, there's no, I'm sorry, Councillor, I'll go to your point of order. When you say either way, well, to me, that's one way, it's user pays.
Yeah.
Okay. Righto. Taking that to those two speakers, because Councillor Martin's moved forward, he's moved the motion. Councillor, he's moved forward, and I've got another speaker forward, which is the second, Councillor Berry. Have I got any speakers against?
You've got a point of order.
Councillor, your point of order is?
My point of order is that the original motion of the officer's recommendation was in fact moved by Michael Petrie and John Martin. And so it actually was. If you look at the
Yes, I see that, Councillor.
Right.
Yes.
So it actually was moved and seconded.
Yeah.
So therefore the motion now put by Mr Martin and seconded by Mr Berry, we still haven't dealt with the original. So therefore it either has to become an amendment or a replacement motion. So it actually, the original one actually was moved and seconded.
Yes.
And they're acting.
I was asking the question, so I'll go to the acting GM for a bit of
Sorry, Mr Mayor, I thought the mover and seconder that the matter be considered.
Yeah.
But I may be corrected. I thought the motion was something I'd never experienced before in my 38 years. That it's sort of like a double movement. And one is that you get a motion to consider it, and then secondly a motion to adopt it. Because once it's on the agenda, it's there for consideration. So I apologise if I got it wrong in terms of your process, but I thought the first mover and seconder moved that the matter be considered. They didn't actually move that the recommendation be adopted. but I don't want to hold up the meeting, that was my understanding. If I'm wrong, I apologise.
And I do feel I stand corrected because, with respect, Councillor Martin, you've seconded the first one and then moved the second one.
Oh,
So you've second one to deal with it, and then you've moved one to do something totally different.
yeah, well,
So I would say that that's unlawful. So I'll stand corrected if I'm wrong, because the first one to go back and to what Councillor Bronwyn Petrie has raised would be correct, the way I see this chair in the meeting, but that's what we're doing, we're asking to discuss. As I said to councillors, I did stop the meeting and said we are to determine, that's what the officer's recommendation is doing. So we either continue with it or we don't. So that was moved by Councillor Bronwyn Petrie, seconded by Councillor John Martin. So that's what we're doing. Then Councillor Martin, you've come in with another motion to do something totally different. Okay, so I hope I'm clear there. With the game of play as we sit, and I'll refer to our acting GM for advice on this legal matters there. GM, or some go forward.
Well, I was just going to say, it could be dealt with as an amendment, as that we could be as part 1, that council determine whether provided discontinued waste collection service, and if it was to continue, then it would be, you could have those words there that Councillor Martin did do, that's the way council so wanted to move. But whichever way going forward, I'd like to ask a question, please.
To answer, I'll come back to Councillor Martin. Okay, so Councillor Bronwyn Petrie, correct me if I'm wrong. The council determined whether to, I'm reading off the red, this is the first officer's recommendation, whether to provide or discontinue a waste collection service. So that's what we're going to do. We're either providing or we're discontinuing it. Okay? That's what we're deciding here today. But now you're saying to add what, a number 3 in that?
I take it from Councillor Martin's proposal that he wants to continue the service, but with a user pay fee.
Yeah, we're moving somewhere.
Which would be an amendment to the original motion, which would be that council determine to provide a waste collection service to residents of the Mount Lizzie collection area, blah, 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 and then those particular words. But my question was, if that were the case, as we previously heard from Director Stephen Bell, there were operational issues as to how you knew who had the bins, who didn't, etc. So that was my question, if this was to be adopted.
Just for clarity, Councillor Bronwyn Petrie, when you say who had the bins, if this was to continue,
On a user pays basis, it was brought up at a Torrington meeting.
Yes.
That for those people who did want the service to continue, and in consideration of the number of people who don't,
yes,
that the garbage truck would only stop at the places who had the bins out. And the concern of Director Stephen Bell was that some people who were not paying the waste collection levy could go and purchase a bin and just stick it out, and the driver would see the bins and just keep picking up. So some people would use the service but actually not pay. But that was the concern of the director at the time, and that operationally he said that the trucks did not have the ability to have a GPS thing in them to say which ones would be picked up and which ones wouldn't. So that would be my question: if this would to be adopted as a way to go forward and keep all parties happy.
Well, so it's been issued. Councillor Martin, I'll go to you.
Well, firstly, the point about me agreeing with the motion, I agree with the acting general manager that what I approved was to hear the document, not to start the process of determining anything. Right? And secondly, my answer to Bronwyn Petrie is that there could always be a special bins with, say, like a red lid or a blue lid or something like that you could only purchase from council that would identify which particular lots have been, have paid the fee.
As we all know, councillors, when just had all the bins purchased through council have Tennant Shire Council stamp on it.
Yeah.
Clearly identified. Andre, would you like to comment, before I go back and tidy up where we're actually at, to do with meeting with Sanjit, would you like to make a comment here? I'm not, you don't have to if you don't. Mainly to do with operational matters to hopefully help where we end up with this debate, for some clarity.
Mr. Mayor, I'm certainly...
Order, please, councillors.
Mr. Mayor, with respect to Councillor Petrie's comment on Stephen Bell's assessment of the situation, I'm not aware of Stephen's assessment of the situation, nor am I aware of sort of what our GPS limitations are on trucks, how that sort of can be integrated with our GIS system. So look, that's an operational matter that would have to be determined. But I suppose what I look at going forward, and my other councils, is that what we have done in the past is that if a service does go past a road, providing a service past people's properties, the approach that council has generally taken is that you get the service. It's just like I alluded to a little bit earlier on about water and sewage. If a water line goes past the property, the fact of the matter is the infrastructure's there, the service is being provided, and you pay a fee. There's no opting out. Now, I suppose that comes down to perhaps a policy issue, but at the end of the day, I suppose you're looking at wider good for the community, and yes, look, I would have to go and do some more research, honestly, on the operational issues, but I suppose this is a more fundamental question. Should we be providing this service or not? And look, what's the overall requirement for the community? If better than 50% are saying that this is worthwhile, maybe that's the lead that you take. You'll never get 100%. I mean, we're certainly going to have provided water facilities, and if I got better than 60%, that was a reasonable, good indication of where the community wants to go.
That's great. Thank you, Andre, for your comments. Councillors, to move the meeting along, it's only a suggestion, and I'm not moving it, because it seems to be that some feel that and please respect this, Councillor Martin, I ain't trying to help. We've got to come up with a recommendation moving forward that you're suggesting that it continue, but only as your use pays. Okay. Our new chief officer has indicated that, and in fairness, and I think this is everything council always needs to take into account, what that would cost, is it viable? That's what we need to know. That's where I'm at as mayor. That sounds wonderful in the perfect world, but that truck's going up there. Our chief officer has made a comment about the services provided, and everybody that's in. So I'm leaning towards that, probably a bit more that those figures be brought back to us at another meeting. Maybe, it's only a suggestion, so we can make a educated decision. That's all I'm suggesting. I'm not saying to do it. Councillor Bronwyn Petrie.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Mayor. The concern here is that the actual replies is less than 50% wanted to continue. However, there is an anomaly in some of the, unfortunately, the question on the survey was not, do you want the waste service, collection service to continue? It was, do you actively use it? It should have just been, do you want it to continue? And as Councillor Berry said, there are a large number of people who did not reply, and therefore the consideration is, well, then they're comfortable with it continuing, etc. And as a bit of background, because you obviously weren't here at the time, this service was imposed upon the people on that road with no prior consultation, and there's a feeling obviously that the transfer station is working well. But the people who are using it and really like it and desperately want it to continue, we've got this drama that's pretty well line ball, and I mean that would be the ideal way to continue, as Mr. Martin has said, if it can be facilitated operationally. So, I mean, I'll be very happy to support that if it can be done. I mean, the truck is already going to Urban Hill,
Yes.
so there's no additional cost.
Yes.
And if certain people who have it on their rates want to have it and put their bins out, and that can be done, and the people who don't want it, then that's the ideal world. So we're not losing anything because the truck is already going to Urban Hill. So if that can be operationally put in place, that would be a fantastic way for it.
And once again, before I come to you, Councillor Petrie, and I'm not swaying anything, Councillor Bronwyn Petrie raised, I'll repeat what I said before. If that's what the meeting's linked, look, councils make decisions. Okay, and then if we need more information, and I'll repeat myself again, but that's what this meeting's leaning towards, that, in a nutshell, that if it's viable, or we want the costings of a user pays, correct me if I'm wrong, bin service, and I'm not moving the motion, this lay on the table, and in fairness to our new chief officers, that could come back to our next meeting with some figures for us to help us make a decision. It's only a suggestion. I'm trying to move forward with the meeting, councillors. Councillor Brian Murray.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I think whether it's a question of viability or not is irrelevant, because I think it's a service that we should provide for those that want it, and I might go along with what Councillor Martin has put to it. I think that's.
But in respect, yes, councillor, have you finished? Or, yeah, you have. In respect, and just add, and in respect what you say, but when we make decisions, say for argument's sake as a council, we're going to say to leave it lay on the table, okay? We'll ask through our the chief officer services to bring back a report to the next meeting with some figures of a user pays, and the recommendation would be there from and it needs to be respected from the officer, saying that in his opinion it would be unviable or viable. But that's where I'm at, because if that's what you're asking for, with respect, that's what you can do. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Acton.
Mr. Mayor, correct in process, but my recommendation would be that the motion moved by Councillor Martin have the words added to it, subject to a further council report. Because it's not, I think operationally it can be done, and I hear what about the service. The issue is going to be finding out how many people wish to then opt in. Because if only one or two people wish to opt in, your additional marginal cost of providing the service might make it unviable from a point of view of how much is going to be charged to each individual ratepayer.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Anjan, for your comments. Councillor Martin, just bear with me. Councillor Petrie, have I missed it? Did you have your hand up before? I apologise. I'll go to Councillor Michael Petrie. I'll come to you, Councillor Martin, and I'll come to you, McNish, and you, Councillor Greg Sawyer.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I think what Director Andre said, but I think that all the landholders up there should have the charge putting on, their garbage charge put on, because it's run past, and if they want to use it, let them use it. If they don't want to use it, they still pay for it. I was paying $825 a year up there for a sewage line that runs past the place. It's a kilometre away from your house. And I've got to pay for the sewage. Now they've got a thing that they can use. And I think they should, the ones that want it, they pay for it. The ones that don't want it, they don't have to use it, they'll still pay for it. That's my idea of it.
And that's exactly the land we live on today.
I think that's the way it should be. That's the council policies and everything else, isn't it?
Okay, sorry, Councillor. Okay, Councillor, move on. I've got Councillor John Martin.
Yeah, my understanding from the original report was that there was no additional truck movements, that the truck was able to pick up the rubbish on the way back and forwards from Urbanville anyway, so there should be no additional operational costs involved. It's just, there's no extra days required. It's just the truck just goes down to Urbanville, picks up a few bins on the way. When it's coming back, it picks up a few more bins. We're getting more money for the same costs of the truck going to Urbanville.
Thank you, Councillor, but in the report, please respect, I'm going to say obviously that'll be up to the chief officer to do with that area to come back with that report. Councillor McNish.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick reply to the director, or still called director. I can't get the tongue out of this new one yet. There's comments there. But remember, this problem was caused by the fact there was no consultation. It was done in a delegated authority during the last council. And the people were just told, you bring a bin, and that's it. And they took exception to that, and I can understand that. I'd like to commend Councillor John's words there, because I think it's a common sense approach. It'll keep the people happy who want it, it'll keep the people happy who don't want it. You've got to bear in mind also, these people are paying a waste levy as well. So they actually are contributing to the waste collection. I don't think in this modern day and age it'd be hard to identify the people who are actually paying to pick up the correct bin. I think with the technology around now, I couldn't do it. Some smart person could.
If I can add to that, councillor, I get a bid service and it's out the road, it gets picked up. If it's not out the road, don't get picked up.
Well,
It's as simple as that.
What the councils are worried about, of course, is people will go to Bunnings and buy a bin and stick it out there and get it collected free of charge. But
I think
I think that could be overcome, but I'd like to commend
Just enough.
John's motion as a common sense that keeps everybody happy.
Thank you, councillor McNish. I apologise, councillor Webb Sawyer. Councillor Sawyer.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Obviously, this whole issue is controversial due to the way it was introduced.
Yes.
It's certainly attracting attention from both sides of the argument, and Chief Executive Officer Andre's statement there about 55–60% makes it easy to make a decision, but the survey itself is flawed, in my opinion. It doesn't give accurate information for us to proceed to make a proper decision and foist charges continuing onto people who clearly do not want it. The amendment gives us an opportunity to provide a sensible option of opt-in, opt-out, provided it does not cause ongoing concern to the operational side of council.
No, councillor.
And open a little wriggle room for other people on opt-in and opt-out of other services Councillor Petrie is saying.
Point, councillor.
So I think the last few words, subject to a further council report, we look at continuing the service, provided it is viable, fair, consultative to the people who are involved.
Thank you, councillor. Councillor, I will close debate, but it's only a suggestion to do with the Mr. Acting GM. Lawfully, as far as meeting procedure, we're dealing with the last motion here that is moved by John Martin, Councillor John Martin, seconded by Councillor Gary Berry. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, Mr Mayor, the issue is whether or not the first motion was a motion to consider the matter or whether the first motion was to adopt the officer's recommendation.
Well, it was a recommendation. It's clearly there, councillor. I'm reading officer's recommendation. Yeah. So this, what we're dealing with, is an amendment?
If the first recommendation, if the first motion was to adopt the recommendation, then it is an amendment.
Okay, so it's an amendment. Please bear with me, councillor. It's important that meeting procedure is followed for us to be lawful. Councillor, can I, and it's only a suggestion, I'm trying to deal with this. Subject to a further council report, do you want to put that by the next meeting? And please respect if we've just got new people and then in a new structure, whether you think that's fair or just to a further council report.
Yes, I accept that as being an addition to my amendment.
That is subject to a further council report in June.
Yes.
Thank you. It's only a suggestion. Thank you for taking it on board. In June meeting. Okay. Righto, councillors. And thank you, Mr. Acting GM, for your advice to build a meeting procedure. Councillor, the amendment now becomes the motion, and that's what we're voting on. Okay? So the amendment is moved by Councillor John Martin, second by Councillor Berry. The fees and charges item be added to the operational plan, similar to the fees and charges for bulk bins, subject to a further council report brought back to the June meeting. You happy with that, Councillor Martin?
Yes.
And I'm not dictating, I'm just trying to help. We need to move moving forward, councillors. Okay. To do with the amendment. I'll allow that, councillor.
As always, Mr Mayor, should be confined to that fees and charges item in relation to the Mount Lindsay Road waste collection, otherwise it would be showing wide.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yes.
Now, councillor, I'll go to the mover and seconder. Are you happy with that wording?
Yes.
To the mover?
Yes.
To the seconder? Okay. So we'll work with this. Okay. The fees and charges item for the Mount Lindsay Road waste collection service be added to the operational plan, similar to the fees and charges for bulk bin, subject to a further council report brought back to the June meeting. You happy with that, Councillor Martin? Councillor Berry? Okay, councillors, I'll close debate. I think debate has been a good discussion, and I really mean that, because it is an important, it has been an issue that's been hanging around for a while. I don't mean issue is a bad thing. To support the conversation and debate that's been in this meeting to do with this service. Can always be done better. Okay. All in favour? Against? Carried. Councillors, you want to break for smoker?
Yeah.
Okay, break for morning tea. Okay, councillors, as always, thank you for sharing a nice morning tea and good chance to interact with our new staff, and thank you very much. Councillors, we move on and we get back into our agenda. We're on page 26 in your hard copy. It's item GOV 24/17. It's to do with your 2016-17 budget review as of the 31st of March 2016. Could I have a move in a second to deal with this item, please, of business? Councillor Sawyer, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Berry, and I thank you. So I'll hand over to the Chief Corporate Officer, Ms. Collins. Here.
Yes, so I was going to commend the report and introduce Andrew Wright, who is our responsible.
I apologise, Colin. All right. We'll get there. Oh, I'm Andrew. I'm sorry, Andrew.
So, yes, council has a recommendation there that they adopt the 2016-17 budget review as of the 31st of March 2017, and being fortunate enough to have in attendance Mr. Andrew Wright, who is Relieving Manager of Finance and Council's current responsible accounting officer, to provide us with an insight. So I'll hand over to any questions to be directed to myself or my Andrew.
Just to jump in there, when I joined, Colin, welcome Andrew to the meeting, and everybody knows Andrew's just while Paul's still off on sick leave, is acting in that position. So welcome, Andrew, and wish you well on your endeavours while you're here in our fine town with our council. And the report said, councillors, the officers' recommendations in front of you. Their questions? Bear with me, Councillor Berry. To do with the report, councillor?
Yes. Just one question with the report. It says pension rate abandoned. One must presume that that is the money we miss out on from the state government, the word abandoned there.
That is correct, councillor. Obviously, where we provide discount on our rates under legislation, pensioners, we do lose money. But it is also my understanding in New South Wales that we do get a rebate back from the government. So most of that will be recompensed back through subsidy from the government.
Thank you, Andrew. Another question, councillor?
Yeah, just to finish that question off, and where does that show in the budget where the money's reimbursed?
Councillor, I'll have to take that on notice. I'm sorry, I'm still familiarising myself with the ledgers, but I can certainly knock that out for you.
So am I.
Councillors, please respect when we put this up and it's been moved and seconded questions. Can you please raise your hand because I do follow it here who was indicating that they have a question. Councillors, could you please raise your hand to who was going to ask the question? So I do write it down here. Thank you, Councillor Bronwyn. Thank you, Councillor John. Okay, you go, Councillor Bronwyn, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Welcome on, Andrew, sorry. I was just on page 28 in table 4, the 150,000 variation due to the disaster events. Now I understand that we're now going to be included in the disaster area, and that potentially could be a grant rebate, some of that. Yeah, thank you. And the second part, the two $20,000 figures, should those brackets be rounded? Otherwise it doesn't matter.
Thank you, councillor. I was going to point that out. You beat me to the punch. Yes, that's correct. They should not be bracketed. That's a typo.
Thank you, Andrew. Councillor John Martin.
Yes, I have a couple of questions. I was going to talk about the councillor, the pensioner rebate, but Councillor Berry's already said something. I also want to talk about pay. This is in the this page in here. On page 7, it's the development contributions transferred to section 94 reserves. I understand that legislation requires expenditure on that income gained from section 94 is spent on specific projects within the 4-year period. Does that mean that it's just going into reserves, or it's going to fund these particular projects?
That's your question, councillor?
Yes.
Andrew?
My understanding is that the money is going into a reserve, and then will be spent in accordance with the Section 94 plan which you have adopted as a council.
Yes, I have another question too.
Councillor, I will allow another question. You've indicated you have to.
Yeah, I've got several, I said.
No, councillor, be fair to the rest of the councillors. I'm chairing the meeting, so when you present, you're asking me, is it okay if I ask one, two, several?
Yes.
I'll stop you two, and I'll ask the other councillors if they've got questions, and I could come back to you. I need to be fair when chairing that everyone gets dominating as far as that goes, so please respect that.
So I've asked one question so far.
Councillor?
Okay. Let's see. Now, line 14 or page 14, the tourist promotion due to increases in advertising are offset by savings in tourism. I've been informed by various tourist businesses that the agreed reports or tourist reports haven't been issued. Do we need to allow more money or something for that, or what?
Yes, Andrew, I'll go to Andrew and then I'll go to acting GM.
The answer is, councillor, is that that is an operational matter that I'm not across, I'm afraid, and I would have to ask the responsible manager to be able to provide you further information.
Thank you, Andrew. Acting GM.
Mr. Mayor, I was going to say similar to what Andrew said, have to take it on notice and provide the information to all councillors.
Thank you. Councillors, any other questions to do with the report? Councillor Forbes?
Looking at page 6 of the attachment, and I'd just like to know what the...
Councillor, please put your name in your microphone. Please, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm looking at page 6 of the attachment and looking at the general fund, page 4 says, I'd just like more of an explanation about the recruitment senior staff due to restructure. It says something like $12,000 there. What's the activities behind that particular figure? That's all.
I can tell you, my understanding would be that that would be payments made to the recruitment agency under the general manager's area, but in terms of how that process was conducted, I wouldn't be able to advise you.
It's just that I thought that seems to be rather a low figure for dealing with recruitment agents. That's all that's my understanding, but now, thank you.
Any other councillor? I'll just cool your heels just for a minute. I'll explain what I'm doing. Councillors, any other questions to do with this report? To the senior staff or to acting GM? Councillor Martin, in fairness, I'll allow one more question.
Yeah. Okay. On page 17, roads to recovery, Mount Mincy Road, Lagoon to Woodbong, due to higher than forecast costs. This is transferring roads to recovery money to Mount Mincy. Isn't Mount Mincy already getting a whole pile of grants from other sources? So why should money be taken off other wards to be able to pay for Mount Mincy?
Councillor, I'll go to acting GM and Andrew, quite with respect, come in and if you can help. Councillor, clearly, so everyone knows, if you're referring to the 12 million that from the state government and 12 million, when you say Mount Mincy from the federal government to 24 million, that is totally for the Lagoon to Woodbong section of that road.
Yes.
So that, I can answer that, but now I into that GM.
Mr. Ministry, thank you. Having been here only 2 days, the issue of the Mount Mincy Road has come to my attention, and I've asked Andre to have a look at what has happened and what has caused the variations and how they've been approved. So the matter is under review by myself at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Councillor, and I'll offer this, as any councillor should, when you said you had several questions. If you haven't had and once again, I chair the meetings to be fair to every councillor who has questions. and I can be slapped on the wrist if I'm suggesting this. At a council meeting or in the lunchtime, if you, in a formal way, approach the director or with approval from the acting GM with things that you want answered, that is the appropriate way to do it. And you'll be told whether it's lawful, and if they can get back to you, please respect that. I'm trying to help you for future reference.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. No, that's off closed.
Right.
Councillors, is there any other questions to do with the report? No other questions? Councillors, the report's in front of you there, with the officer's recommendation. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Councillors, we move on to page 31 in the hard copy. I apologise, councillors, I wanted to say this at the start. Lunch will be at 1 o'clock. We will be dining in here. We have the auditors here at the moment in the room we usually use. So that's where we're heading for, and that will pull up about 1 o'clock. Okay? So I'll start again. Page 31, your hard copy. It's item GOB 25/17. It's to do with finance and accounts. Can I move to the second to deal with this report, please? Councillor Berry, I thank you. Second by Councillor Martin, I thank you. And I'll hand over to our Chief Corporate Officer at the end, please.
So in accordance with clause 212 of the Local Government General Regulations, the responsible accounting officer must provide a written report setting out the details of all money that the council has invested under section 625 of the Local Government Act. So we have an officer's recommendation there that council receive and note the report finance and accounts for the period of the 30th of April 2017. And once again, if you've got any questions, please raise those.
Questions to the officer, councillors? No questions? The recommendation's there. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Councillors, page 33 in your hard copy. It's item GOB 26/17. Posted expenditure report. Can I have a move in a second to deal with this item, please? Councillor Michael Petrie, I thank you. Second, please. Councillor Greg Sawyer, thank you. And once again, I'll hand over to the Chief Corporate Officer to present this item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of the report is to monitor progress on major and critical expenditure items and flag where the expenditure reaches 60% of the budget. The officer's recommendation there is that council receive and note the posted expenditure report for the period ending 30th of April 2017. Likewise, if there are any questions.
Thank you. And any questions to the Chief Corporate Officer to do with this report? No? All in favour? Officer's recommendations there. Against? Carried. Thank you, councillors. Councillors, we move on to page 35. It's item GOB 27/17. Adoption Operational Plan 2017-18, Delivery Program 2017-21. Could I have a move in a second, please, to deal with this item? Councillor Berry, I thank you. Second, please. Councillor Greg Sawyer, thank you. And once again, I'll hand over to the Chief Corporate Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So with the delivery program and operational plan, the recommendation for item 2, so we're considering these, is to actually amend that and include the fees and charges as per the item of fees and charges exhibited. So what you currently have before you as amendments to the fees and charges that haven't been exhibited, the reason that they weren't was that they were cut over from one side of the paper and they weren't actually placed on exhibition. So the recommendation is to be amended that with the fees that were exhibited, that they are adopted by council.
Questions?
Is that making sense?
Oh, sorry. Questions to the Corporate Officer to do with this report? Councillor Bellman, Petrie.
Thank you, Chair. I would actually like to move that this be referred to our next council meeting, and perhaps even some of it be dealt with or discussed in a workshop, in our next workshop. There's a lot here, and we were still waiting a summary of all the comments that were received at the public meetings, etc. There was going to be some of things that people wanted in the operational plan, etc. We still haven't received that yet. I know everything's been very busy, but, so that would be my reasoning for moving it to the next meeting, and perhaps even, as I said, dealing with it in the workshop as well. Some of the issues, and there could be some slight amendments in there.
So that you'd be moving that as an amendment. There's an office recommendation there.
Yeah,
that we adopt 1 and 2.
No, I'm recommending that 1 and 2, that this whole motion, this whole recommendation be deferred, be adjourned to the next meeting.
Councillor, that's what I'm referring to. So I'll just go on to a question to John Martin. I want some clarity from our acting GM at the moment. To do with meeting procedure, acting GM, that would be appropriate to do such a thing.
Yes, Mr Mayor, the main thing is it's got to be adopted by the 30th of June, otherwise on the 1st of July we don't have a budget and we close down. But take the councillor's point, one of the issues I'd like to see is the ability to provide a bit more information to the councillors, particularly in terms of program budgeting. And it's up to the councillors, but the motion, going back to the previous motion we had about the waste service, it might have to be, the wording might have to be the item to do with the adoption of the delivery program be adjourned to the next meeting.
So
I'll second.
Yeah, I'll come back to you too, because you flagged the amendment. I think in fairness, Councillor John Martin, do you have a question to do with this report?
I have 4 questions.
Thank you for indicating, Councillor.
Okay.
What I'll do, Councillor, and please, without confusing you, I'm dealing with I can go back and deal with the amendment, which is clearly up there, and Councillor Bronwyn Petrie being the move, and if the second is happy that the wording's up there, you want to wait till when it's brought up, when this is brought back to the June meeting with your questions, or do you want to deal with them, present your questions now?
I'd like to present the questions before the amendment of the motion by Councillor Petrie's raised.
Please turn on your microphone. Once again, in question, Councillor, I'm going to allow 2. Sorry?
Okay. Do you know that General Manager Damien Connors informed me that my submission documents would be circulated to all councillors for the consideration prior to this meeting?
Who are you asking the question of, Councillor?
The person who has presented this report, the Chief Executive Officer.
So no, I haven't been made aware of that. I've been only aware of 2 external submissions which are included in the report. One which does come from Councillor John Martin, and the other one from the Rural Progress Association. As you'll see from the report, the Rural Progress Association relates to a fee and charge, and the one from Councillor John Martin had a variety of questions, the majority of which were addressed as operational concerns. Has a response been provided directly to Councillor Martin? I don't believe that is the case.
Thank you, Con. Second question, Councillor.
Okay. This motion is to adopt the plan as it is. Have you modified the document to reflect the public submissions? If not, then how does this fact encourage the public to make further submissions?
Through you, Mr Mayor, as the report states, minor variations on submissions, the majority of which were internal, have been made. They resolve around wording. For example, one of the words you got an objection for was lobby, and that has been changed to advocate. So very minor changes that don't actually influence the document have been made based on the submissions that were received, but nothing material to the intended purpose of the document.
Okay. I'll go to you, Councillor Berry. Question to do with the report, Councillor?
One question with this, it's on page 126, but you click on 132 on your iPad, it comes up. It's just about the museum, adults, children, concession, and family. I believe we should take those charges out, so it's a free, not a free for all, but it's free for those classes. Would that be possible at this meeting, or would we have to go through the workshop for that one?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Recommendation up there is that it goes to a workshop, and then after the workshop it comes back to council. I would have thought the fact that what's being exhibited now, subject to what happens at the workshop, then you would make a recommendation at the council meeting workshop and take it out.
So that's your question, Councillor? I apologise, Councillor. Initially did indicate.
No, just seconded it.
Oh, sorry, I apologise. I apologise. Okay. Councillor, I said 2 questions.
Not a question.
Well, it needs to be a question and it needs to be distinct to this report.
I'd like to raise a motion similar to Ron.
Councillor, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to Councillor Bronwyn Petrie, and now that I'm satisfied that the councillors have had a chance to ask questions, Councillor Rowan Petrie, you have flagged an amendment to members there. Item be adjourned to the next meeting, and issues also dealt with in a councillor's workshop. In a councillor workshop. Okay. Obviously, due to the importance of this, and our acting GM has indicated the timing of this to do with the budget, obviously, which we're aware. And it's only a suggestion, I'm not telling you what to do. In a council workshop, obviously that workshop's got to be soon. Okay. Would it be of importance to put a time, or that the acting GM advises of that workshop in with the next little while?
Well, we have a workshop scheduled for
Yes.
the second Wednesday.
Yep.
So I just thought it would go in there, but you want
I'm just
second
trying
one.
to be clear about it. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, we already have a workshop scheduled.
Yes.
I know that the due date of the timeliness of it for the end of June, but considering the important issues that
Yep.
several councils are concerned with and just some tidying up,
Yep.
maybe some amendments,
Yep.
I think it's right that we actually adopt the correct document,
Yep.
not something that we're then going to be amending and everything else later. We adopt it.
So do you want it with the council workshop at our next council workshop?
If that suits the time.
I'm just trying to work, just not to leave it open, that's all.
Yeah. And June council workshop.
Yep. Okay. Councillor Knish being the second, are you happy with that add-on then? Okay. So councillor, it is an amendment, and that's what we're dealing with now. Did you want to speak to the amendment anymore?
No, not covered.
Okay. Councillor McNish, did you want to speak to the amendment being the seconder? Okay. Councillors, I'll put the amendment. All in favour? Against? Carried.
Yes, so that I just got one of the councils had a proposed amendment.
Well, carried that.
He's carrying stuff too.
Okay. Okay, page 38.
So can I submit my proposed motion?
No, we've adopted the amendment that councillor Petrie has made.
So I have to raise that motion there.
No, we've all voted on it. It's done.
Yeah, okay.
We've moved on. Okay, councillors, page 38. It's GOV 28/17. It's to do with investments draft policy 1.091. I've moved and second to deal with this item, please. Councillors. Councillor Crusoe, thank you. Second, Councillor Peters, and I thank you. And once again, I'll hand over to the Chief Corporate Officer.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The purpose of this report is to enable Council to review the existing investment policy, which was previously adopted in May 2015. We've got an officer's recommendation there that Council adopts the draft investment policy as per the attached and place the draft investment policy on public exhibition for a period of 14 days.
Any questions to the Chief Corporate Officer to deal with this, Councillor Forbes?
Yeah, I'd just like an explanation. What's an hourglass investment facility?
Very good question, Councillor Forbes. I'm sure that Andrew will be able to help us out more.
Sorry?
So I'm sure Andrew will be able to help us out more.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew.
Okay.
Could you refer where that is? It's on page 38 of the hard copy. It's point D.
Okay. The answer is, Councillor, I'm not entirely sure. That investment was part of the ministerial order, and simply added it in there to ensure compliance with that order. That's it. I can take it on notice and make my
Thank you, Andrew. Councillors, any more questions to do with the report? Councillor, to do with the report, Councillor Martin?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd like to make an amendment to the, what the section 1 and 2 say.
All right.
Okay. Both parts, that council reviews and notes instead of adopts, and that in part 2 places a draft investment policy on public exhibition and invites public submissions for a period of 28 days.
Well, Councillor, I'll go to the acting GM for advice here, because the way I see it, you're changing what is lawfully been put there, and I'll need advice on that. If it's all right, I'm happy to deal with it, but especially with the changing of a public exhibition for a period of 14 days. And sometimes it's 28, it just depends on what area we're dealing with and what's lawful and legal. Nothing, they don't make it up and put it in.
Oh, no.
No, okay. Just have to give advice, please.
Commensurate, you take the confirmation, Andrew might know a little bit more detail on it. My understanding is essentially there's been a ministerial order, as to what investment policies councils have. And no disrespect to public consultation, but public submission to say that we can go and buy some other notes or treasury notes or whatever, if it's outside the ministerial order, well, we can't do it. My understanding is this report is largely to bring council's investment policy in line, not saying there's anything wrong with the current policy, but to bring council's investment policy in line with the ministerial order. But I'd ask you, the Mayor, if Andrew can confirm that.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Chairman. Andrew.
Yeah, look, that's correct. I mean, the previous one was in line with ministerial order as well. But this one's a little bit more expansive, and one of the things that I mentioned in my report is by widening the number of banks that we're able to invest with, it improves our risk profile, in that we're obviously able to spread our funds across more banks, which means that we're less likely to get caught up if one bank should fail. And the other thing is that as part of that protection, that we use the ratings that Standard & Poor's use to determine the security of those funds and the creditworthiness of those banks, and use that as the guide moving forward. So that's probably the major change from the prior policy, and it's more reflective of what our neighbouring councils are using as investment policy as well.
Can I just add to councillors that prior to the 2008 global financial crisis, whilst there were guidelines by the Department of Office of Local Government, there were a number of councils that went outside those guidelines, and some of the metropolitan councils in Sydney lost up to $25 million. I resisted any push by people to go and invest in what could be risky. But since then, there's been more definitive ministerial guidelines rather than just Office of Local Government Section 23 guidelines. So essentially, this brings it in line with the current ministerial guidelines. And whilst I have to admit I haven't heard the hourglass one before, I need to clarify that. My strong recommendation would be don't go outside of those guidelines.
Councillor, before me to deal with you flag that you want to make changes here. Please respect what I'm asking. That now with the questions that you've raised with what you want to change, I've thrown to the acting GM, I've thrown to the relevant officers that we've got here. Are you happy with your reply?
Yes, I'd like to make a comment to it.
To do with this report?
Yes.
Councillor?
I've received some recommendations from a member of the public who has experience in local government with some amendments to some of the wording of the particular of this report.
Well, I can answer that, Councillor, because to take advice wherever you want, the people that we have employed
yes.
are the people that give this council advice. And if they can't, they go to the authority to come back with council and answer whatever question they have. Please respect that.
Yeah.
Okay. Councillor Sawyer, I apologise if I missed you, Councillor.
I didn't make, thanks, Mr. Mayor, through you. Question in regard to point 3.6 of the attachment about the investment advisor. For a newbie, can you clarify, or someone clarify for me, do we actually have an investment advisor? If so, who is it? And what safety valves do we have in place in regards to indemnity insurance for poor advice?
Thank you, Councillor.
Okay. I'm not aware of us currently having an advisor. I guess the intent of this is to provide the opportunity for council, should they choose to take on an advisor. And on the basis of whether we have any indemnity against that, I'm not across council's insurances, but I would imagine that before taking on such advice, council would check to see what indemnity insurances were available from that. So,
Mr. Mayor, I strongly recommend if there was going to be an investment advisor on board, there needs to be a report to council. My 38 years in the game, I've had limited or no use of, I don't mean a bad way of investment advisors. You stick with the highest sort of line levels of the guidelines here and spread it around through your banks, then you don't need an investment advisor. But it is part of the ministerial guidelines that allow you to have that, but I wouldn't recommend the use of an advisor unless I put a report to council.
And to support what the acting GM has said, clearly as it's exhibited to us in the hard copy with the spread of our investments, I think that's clearly indicated, and it goes back to way before this council that, because we were involved with the Lehman affair, this council, way before everybody. And that it was, that we don't invest overseas and all our investments are here in Australia. And I think that report proves that. To do with the banks, that we only investments, clearly in this report, what banks that we invest with. So I'm just adding that. Councillors, any more, before we do the officer's recommendation, any more questions? I'm sorry. Well, I think that with the amendment, Councillor, you're going to, Councillor Martin, wish to withdraw the amendment. I didn't ask for a second because the way I looked at it was unlawful. I mean, because you tried, and I tried to help you with our officers to explain why those officers' recommendations are there.
Yeah, sorry, I've been trying to find something.
Well, I'm dealing with the agenda. So we're moving forward. Are you happy to withdraw the amendment?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Thank you, Councillor. Okay. So the officer's recommendations there, councillors, all happy? All in favour, I'm sorry, all in favour? Against? Okay, thank you. Councillors, we move on to page 41 in your hard copy. It's item GOV 29/17, the related party disclosure policy, new policy. Can I move in a second to deal with this item, please? Councillor Bronwyn Petrie, I thank you. Seconded by Councillor John Martin, I thank you. And I'll hand over to the Chief Corporate Officer to present this report.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So the purpose of this report is to present to Council a related party disclosure policy for adoption. The officer's recommendations are that we adopt the draft related disclosure policy as per the attachment and place the related policy on public exhibition for a period of 14 days. It's my understanding that the Council's actually already had a workshop on this particular issue.
I'm not sure that I'm going to say no. Not to my knowledge, Councillor, with respect. Yeah. Do I have a workshop on it?
Yes.
Fine.
Right.
Yeah, I can answer that.
The issue being that the council needs to be across the
Yes. Okay. Question to our Chief Corporate Officer to do the report. Councillor Bronwyn Petrie.
Thank you. Colleague, on page 43, the $10,000, it says, as a general rule, council will utilise $10,000 as the threshold for materiality for disclosure. Does that mean the figures up to that you don't have to disclose? I just thought you had to disclose for anything.
That's not my understanding. I'll pass that to Andrew.
Okay, materiality in a finance sense is not entirely clear. We use $10,000 as a guide in terms of reasonableness, but it also comes down to other things about likely impact on the organisation. So while $10,000 is, you might pull your rule of thumb, if it was a lesser amount but it had a high impact on the organisation or on community expectation, then we would then include it even though it may not be $10,000. An example might be the council might be dealing with an organisation where a councillor's wife might be running it, and it might be $8,000, but our bill for that particular service might be only $10,000, and we might, on that basis, consider that it's material because it's a significant portion of what we spend on that particular type of service.
Councillor.
So just further to that, I mean, while it's there, if people read it, they would think, oh, it's less than $10,000, I don't have to disclose it. I'd rather see that sentence removed.
Yeah, by all means, Andrew.
I hear what you're saying, Councillor, but it is a guide, but that said, and by having it in there, you're being clear to the community as to what is likely to be put forward. If you were to make it absolutely everything, then it could well be that we spent $10 with that same organisation that you just spoke about, but do we want to list this long with everything that each related party spent that was that we would, as a related party, it would potentially become meaningless because you have all these tiny items in there that really don't reflect any genuine impact on the council or its operation.
Councillor, just stop. just cool your heels, just remember, don't go to the acting chair, just for a bit of comment, just remember, this is subject to related party disclosure policy, new policy. So, please respect that.
Mr. Mayor,
Just for
thanks.
some comment.
I didn't realise it hadn't been to a workshop, and I agree it needs to go to a workshop. It's a, it's a new accounting standard that's essentially now being applied to local government, and like a lot of these things, when they are applied, there might be some examples, but not real strong guidelines. So, I understand Councillor Petrie's concerns, but my view would be that it should go to a workshop, and that that workshop is the matter for council to determine what that limit is.
Okay. Councillor's going to make a suggestion that with the workshop to do, go back what we've organised in June to do with the operational. Too big a gig to put this on the same agenda. I'm trying to work with you here, but I mean that's what we're working towards. Should be good. Okay. So let's do that. Needs to be an amendment in there. Yeah, please.
So do you want me to move that this
I'll
item?
like someone to Councillor
Okay,
Bond,
I
yeah.
will move that this item go to our June workshop.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor. Do I have a second, please? Councillor Berry.
I'm second.
Well, I've got Councillor Berry. I apologise, Councillor Martin. Councillor Bromwell Petrie, in further suspended, do you want to speak to the amendment?
No, I think I'm fine. It's just tidying up a couple of things, or clarifying some of those issues, and perhaps actually using those words Andrew used, still keeping the 10,000, but making it very clear that it might be a lower threshold comes into play.
The way I see it, and the advice we've given, and I really appreciate it from our acting team, it is a new policy and it does need a workshop, and it's good governance of a council to do such a thing. Because I read it the other day and I thought the same, and you know, it was all new to me, so I think it would be beneficial to all of us. Councillor Berry, I apologise if you're doing with you. Councillor Berry, written seconded, do you want to speak to the amendment? Okay. Okay, councillors, I'll put the amendment. All in favour? Against? Carried. Okay. Councillors, we move on in your hard copy to the start of our reports from delegates and committees. Sorry, I apologise for this subject. Oh, the amendments here. Nine. Okay. Councillors, the addendum item, it is item GOV 30/17 to do a National General Assembly of Local Government 2017. Can I have a move and a second to deal with this item, please? Councillor Berry, I thank you. Second, please. Councillor Bromwell Petrie, I thank you. And I'll head over to Chief Executive Officer to present this report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My understanding is the council's previous decision was that the mayor and the general manager or chief executive officer attend the national conference. However, I've only just started the last couple of days, and I don't think it'd be fair on council to send me to Canberra for 2 or 3 days in June. So no, seriously, I wouldn't do that to the council. Having just started, obviously there's an opportunity then for another council to go, and the report recommends the deputy mayor. We have already paid for our registration. We are of the understanding that there may be some refund of accommodation, but at this stage there's no refund on the registration. Amend the report to council.
Questions, councillors? No questions? All in favour of the report? Against? Carried. Thank you, Nolan. So we're back on to page 2, delegates from reports. Thank you. Okay, I apologise. Councillors, page 45 in your hard copy. Councillor John McNish, you've been the author of the report. You happy to move?
I'll move the recommendation, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Do I have a second, please? Councillor Sawyer, thank you. Councillor McNish, once again, the author, did you want to speak to the report?
No, Mr. Mayor.
I've got a question for the chair, if I can. Councillor, only because I commend you as a delegate and love of libraries. What's you got in the third last paragraph with the I'll shorten it up with the report. Decided that in future zone meetings will be face-to-face and develop visual access, and I do really understand that, by a Blue Jeans program. What's the Blue Jeans program?
I think that's just a program by which, so you're not the photos on the board.
That's what they call it.
It's called a Blue Jeans.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to be smart.
No, we did that at this meeting. It was 4 officers from down Chemistry Park.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
And it was very, very hard to hear them the audio quality was terrible.
Yeah.
There's a lot, a bit of work to do yet.
Yeah.
I can see in the future that most of these meetings will become village events.
Yeah.
We just need to have some meeting drill and then, it's not the same as being there, obviously, but, with cost cutting and things like that, Mr Mayor, I think it's the thing of the future.
Once again, thank you for the delegate and attending such a thing. Questions to the author, please, to Councillor McNish, if you wish. Councillor Martin, a question to do with this?
Yes. Your attendant, the attendance at this meeting in Coffs Harbour, is that, will you be approved to go to that?
I would assume so, I'm the library delegate.
He's a delegate.
Until we vote on the committee members and that sort of thing in the future, if someone else wants it, they can have it, but in the meantime, I think we did it in September, Mr Mayor.
I think we do, Councillor, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to check that we didn't have to authorise John to go to the meeting.
Well, that's to support what Councillor McNish has said, Councillor Martin, that's in it. There is someone, I stand corrected, that are for the full year term. Delegates, I think?
Every 12 months, Mr Mayor.
No, not this one, but there's some of our things we do as delegates that you're for the 4 year term.
It's every 12 months.
Anyway, I'm not going to get into debate, but I'm sure there's one or two that just might be for the whole term. Yeah.
I think, yeah, Mr Mayor, yeah, I think that was relevant during the 355 committees.
Yeah. God bless you. Councillor Murray, yes,
and
you could be correct.
Has somewhat changed.
Yes. Okay, councillors, any more questions to our author, Councillor McNish? Okay, all happy to the recommendations there, this report, all in favour of adopting the report, receive a note, against, carried, thank you. Councillors, we move on to notices of motions, and we deal with item NM6/17, it's the insert the director's report and other matters in the ordinary council meeting agendas. Councillor Berry, you brought the notice of motion, you have to move that way. Do I have a second, please? Councillor Martin. Councillor Berry, I'll give you the opportunity to present your notice of motion.
It's just that the public have been asking for it, and I think as councillors, we should have these reports in front of us so we can answer any questions that were given to by the public, rather than just, especially for me, to ring up the director and make sure he's there. So it's just as easy to have them in the agenda. And there's an old saying, the public servants, without information, there's no transparency. If there's no transparency, there's no accountability. So that's my...
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Martin, moving the second of the notice of motion. Do you want to speak?
Yes, please. I also want to push the feeling of transparency, because, and also I'd like to make an addition to the motion.
Will it be an amendment, Councillor? So you're moving an amendment?
Yeah. The amendment is I want to add the annual works program be provided with updates quarterly be provided in the report. Yeah.
So the works program wouldn't be in an engineering report?
I'm not really sure whether what the difference is. Yeah. But the works program gives you a forecast of what is going to happen. So then we don't have this same situation that we've just recently had with the capital works program, having 3/4 of the jobs not even started. So,
but I think, Councillor, without cutting off, that was explained when the question was asked.
Yes, I know it was explained, yes. But it was sort of said, as you would know, Councillor Martin, but all of the other councillors do not necessarily know that.
I'll go back to that. Okay, so you flagged an add-on as an amendment, that the annual works program be provided quarterly.
Yes.
Simple as that. Councillor Berry, before I ask for a second, have been the mover.
No, not quite that.
Please bear with me, Councillor.
No, that the annual works program be provided with updates quarterly.
Thank you. So, Councillor Berry, being the mover and the author of the notice of motion, are you happy with that add-on?
I am, Mr Mayor, but it could also just be put in front of their quarterly reports. Where we're up the top there.
Yes.
Meeting agenda and quarterly reports, including the works program.
Councillor Martin, you happy with that? For the seconder, trying to move forward your council? Hang on, John. Councillor Berry, if you just pay attention, I'm going to read that, this is with the add-on from Councillor Martin, that your engineering report and the environmental report are placed in all future ordinary council meetings, agendas, and all quarterly reports, including the works program, be brought up to date. Up to date to what?
Up to the date of the quarterly report.
Well, do you understand it that way? So I'll just come to you, Councillor Cronpetrie, I'll just deal with this. So Councillor Vera, I'm dealing with this, trying to not avoid an amendment, but are you happy that we just add in that to what your recommendation is?
Yeah, that's fine, but I think I've got to clarify my quarterly reports. They're probably up to date, but they need to be provided to council at the meeting. That's right.
So that's what I'm getting. So you're going to take that, be brought up to date.
Yeah.
You want to take that out?
Yeah, just be provided to council.
Okay, be provided. So brought up to date's out. Be provided at future ordinary council meetings.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not trying to be the author of this, I'm trying to help. Sure.
No, that's fine, I'll have you then.
Okay. Okay, Councillor Berry, so work with Noel, including the works program, be provided at future ordinary council meetings. So this is going to become your recommendation now?
Yeah.
Okay. Councillor Cronpetrie, I apologise, I just need to tidy that up.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, that was one of my questions, what's up today. Now that we have a new structure,
Yes.
I'm just querying the appropriateness of the words engineering report and environment report. Should it be that chief corporate and chief,
Fair
should
question.
be the corporate and services reports are placed in all future ordinary council meeting agendas and all government reports?
Fair question. I'll go to acting GM and I commend you on actually bringing that up.
Mr Mayor, I apologise, I hadn't thought of that, so it may be more appropriate that the chief operating officer's reports are included in future ordinary meetings.
Thank you.
Which covers all that.
Yeah, thank you. Once again, with that change, Councillor Berry, being the author of that motion, are you happy with that change? Okay. Good. As we work with it, okay, so Councillor Mark, are you happy with that change? You're the
Yes.
seconder?
What's happening there now?
Well, you need the engineering report taken out. It's going to be chief officer's report,
Chief operating officers.
operating officers. Bear with us, councillors. I need to get it right.
That's
And to read the equivalence.
Yeah. So is that services?
yeah, that's everything except corporate.
Yep. Okay. So right, I'll go to you again, Councillor Vera, and I'm going to read. This is your recommendation now. That the Chief Operating Officer's report are placed in future ordinary council meeting agendas and all quarterly reports, including the works program, be provided at future ordinary council meetings. Happy? Councillor Martin being the second, are you happy?
Yes.
Okay. I'll put the notice of motion, councillors. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Councillors, we move on to the page 48 in the hard copy. It's to do with item NM717, Travelling Stock Reserve. It's been brought forward by Councillor Berry. Councillor Berry, you happy to move the notice of motion? Thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Martin. Councillor Berry, would you like to speak to your notice of motion?
Yeah, I apologise to some of the councillors. I did put my original motion, I had it there ready to send, but something went wrong and I didn't send it.
To do with this?
Yeah, that was a motion, must be 2 years ago, or 18 months ago, along the same lines, we write to Thomas George asking him about some of these stock reserves, crown land in general, especially around the villages. and we got a reply back, and I was going to include all that, and I didn't, and I couldn't include the piece out of the land. I sent private because that's covered by copyright. And this week's land, there's another article on, I think this week's or last week's anyway, covered by, that covers the same subject about these stock reserves. And I think I've explained pretty well there. If you go to one of the maps, or to go type in there too, which one it was, you can look at what it was down for and you can see there the amount of Crown land just around the town. It's all been subdivided into blocks, 100 years ago. Most of them are reverted back to Stockbridge because there's been no interest in public up until recently, and any block that's been at was down for instance, that were sold for unpaid rates, but sold immediately. So there's potential there for a lot of sales from council if we can get this stock route and sell them off, or sell those parts of it off. And any stock route that's being used with stock, the way I read the article, council should be able to keep them open and charge rent to the owners. And in the past, they did close a lot of stock route along Mount Lynchie Road. In those days it was given to the adjoining landholder. Now we've got an opportunity, I believe, the way the article reads to me, that we could sell the blocks that wouldn't be any use for grazing, as in like a grazing paddock direct.
Before I go to use a second, Councillor Martin, Councillor, they give them to who? People that have joined them?
Yeah.
For free?
Yes.
Who?
This is going back.
Crown?
Yeah, Crown. This was going back probably 60 years. Yeah, and if you look at the map, you'll see along the original survey lines, there's fairly large blocks, 600 acres, most of them. And you'll see in front of that, there's smaller blocks, 30, 40 acres of the one, and 75 that was given to the previous owners, which was the sports reserve for Wilkes Downfall. And they were actually given to the adjoining landholders.
So who changes it from petrol to freehold?
Well, that's up to the landholder. So, but anyway, I'm not asking for that. All is that we right to put a submission in on getting some of these Crown reserves.
Okay, Councillor. Councillor Martin, I've been the seconder of this notice motion. Do you want to speak?
Yes. I'm not really sure about the previous motion that was in previous year, but it was my understanding that council was trying to transfer ownership of Crown roads as well as this in this case, and I'd like to include Crown roads as well.
Councillor, I feel that it's out of order because it's totally different to what this motion is.
Okay.
Totally different.
Okay, then fine.
That's just my view, and I stand corrected if wrong.
The idea basically is that if council owns these blocks of land, then if the alignment of the road is not on the road reserve, then you're able to do an exchange of closing a piece of road, Crown Road, and exchange that for the newly surveyed alignment where the road actually is. And that's an added advantage with the stock route situation too.
Thank you, Councillor. Any questions to Councillor Berry North with this? Councillor Robin Petrie?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm just querying the detailed submission to whom, and considering it's with a view to cancelling unused sections, then I presume you wouldn't be keeping any open and charging people because if it's unused, and you don't then have a paid user. At the moment, Local Land Services controls all traffic stock reserves. What would the cost be to council? And just on the road thing, if that's all Crown Lands deals with that, not councils.
Okay. Councillor Berry, before I go to the councillors for more questions, Councillor, are you indicating? I'm not trying to dampen the debate. I just wondering where we're at with this, and I did read the article, and thank you, I hope you're not in trouble because of the copyright laws to send that. That, the land, with the article on the land, and I think the way I read it, the state government's working with this as we speak. I could be wrong, to deal with the ownership, and I know that New South Wales farmers were involved. There's comment there, and I'd refer to them, you know, that they might be a lobby group. So anybody that's a member would obviously declare that they're a member of that it is a lobby group, and they're working along here. So it gets, what I'm trying to say is we just might be ahead of our time here. I'm not knocking, I totally understand it, and of course we should be on there, but where it is, as far as the state government, where they are with this. Councillor Sawyer.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Like Councillor Bronwyn Petrie, I have concerns about the broadness of the motion. We don't understand or know what the financial implications on the Shire would be if we were successful in gaining it. And I share your thoughts that it's probably early days after also reading the article. As the motion stands, I couldn't support it. If it was varied to say expression of interest to find out more details, if that's what it takes, I'm happy to support that, but as the motion stands, I can't support that.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll take this again. Councillor Bronwyn Petrie.
Well, as a member of the Executive Council of New South Wales Farmers, I better declare that interest.
I think you should have declared before you started.
Well, I didn't consider it with this because I don't know that specifically on this. There was certainly a Crown Lands review last year, and the government did alter the Crown Lands 1999 Act. But I'm happy to find out just what, if Councillor Berry and Martin are happy to adjourn this for a little bit. And I would also suggest that perhaps there's some liaison between Council and Local Land Services to obtain a bit more information to bring back to Council the state of play. I'm happy to find out what New South Wales Farmers knows about the issue. But there's certainly an opportunity for Council. I know the state government is trying to divest themselves of a lot of Crown land, so there could well be an opportunity for Council to obtain land for either future sale, as Councillor Berry said, or perhaps for additional things such as the archery club. There's additional opportunities there. So I think we get some more information, so we're in a better position to make a decision, and I'm happy to chase up New South Wales Farmers to find out anything that they've been up to on that front.
Okay. So we're dealing, and just personally, I think that I would like to see, and once again, Councillor Berry, please respect your book, is to us to, we should be involving a real state member with this, as far as where it's at. That's in a nutshell what I'd like to know what the state government, where they are at as we speak. I'm not against what you're trying to do, I just feel that. So, I'm dealing with the recommendation, okay? Councillor Murray, yes?
Through you, Mr Mayor. My understanding is it has been before the government for quite some period of time.
As things do.
As things do, yes, it's a slow-moving process. And the Aboriginals are claiming some right to the stock reserve.
Yes.
And that's where the challenge is at the moment.
Okay.
And that's what's holding up. That's my understanding.
Okay. Well, please respect what I'm going to say. If that is the case, if as a council to do with this, we contacted our state member, I'm sure that in the information sent back, and he's very good at that, that could be mentioned. Yeah. But what's the state of play? That's all I'm asking. I know what you're saying, Councillor Bronwyn Petrie, but Councillor Berry, what I'm dealing with as far as chairing a meeting, we're doing a recommendation. So if you wanted to change that in some wording, I'm giving you the opportunity now. If you wanted to not remove that, that's basically where I'm at. I think we've had enough debate about it. That's all I'm saying. I'll give you an opportunity, Councillor. Now read it. The council make a detailed submission. That means we as a council are making a submission with a view to transferring unused sections of the travelling stock reserve, especially around the villages, to the council's ownership control.
Well, I'm happy to have it broad, narrowed down if you wish to. I thought that was narrow enough, but...
Oh, I'm not narrow,
no, I'm just talking about...
Adult, that's all.
I'm just talking about council guys. Either way, it's just that just make a submission to the New South Wales government. You can do it online, but they were just calling for submissions, and I just thought it'd be a good opportunity to put a submission in.
So the submissions they're referring to is for taking this with a view, but submissions are for transferring unused sections of travelling stock reserve.
It says, state to review stock route use and ownership. So I thought we could put a submission on that, but I'm happy to narrow it down. I just think we should stick stick a submission in because we've got a lot of stock route in this shire that is useful for nothing.
So in that, and I'm only trying to further on, in that submission, do we need to identify each stock route that we were talking about?
I don't believe we do. I just think we should stick a submission in.
So it's just using unused sections of travelling stock reserves
Yeah.
in our shire. So is that, I'm sorry, Councillor Martin.
I'd like to make a comment too, seeing I'm seconder.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
I'll tell you what I'll do. Please, I'll come back to you. It's a notice motion for closing the debate. Okay. So I'll go to you, Councillor Berry. I've offered you to, if you wanted to make some changes to your recommendation. If you do, what you're going to put up is what you're going to put up. Don't feel under any pressure. I'm trying to help.
I thought it was in. I thought it was in for this current month.
What, May? Oh, June, sorry.
I thought it was there.
Okay, in the financial year.
I'm just looking through it here and I can't see where it is. So. So we can defer it to workshop or whatever you like. Can we get more information? So I just say defer it to that workshop we're having only in a few minutes with the information.
Okay. So, Councillor, you've got a recommendation there. So, Councillor Martin, the mover of the notice of motions indicated that he'd defer that, wishing for more information. Is that correct, Councillor Berry? Yep. To do it, are you happy with that?
Yeah, that was what my suggestion was going to be.
So, Councillor, are you happy to move that way, Councillor Berry? Okay. Please respect, I once again repeat myself, and as a council, I think you just need a little bit more to know what this is. Don't make yourself look silly. So, Councillor Berry, is what Nolan's put up there is what you want. That item be deferred pending the provision of more information. Yeah. Okay? Happy, Councillor Martin? Okay. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you, councillors. Councillors, move on into our hard copy to page 50. It's item RES4/17, acting council resolution to May 2017. Can I move the second to deal with this, please? Councillor Forbes, thank you. Second to Councillor Sawyer. And I hand over to the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Dave Walker.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. This is the last report on the agenda, and I noticed that we have all the outstanding resolutions. I've listened to today of the video, I haven't had a chance to check any of them. I'm not trying to be negative, but
you're not.
I'd be more than happy to make sure that I go through and check them. I'm not saying the report's not accurate, but to make sure it is 100% accurate for the next document. If there's any questions from the council, I can review or investigate.
Okay. Councillor's office here is to do with the resolution register. Is there any questions to our Chief Executive Officer to do with this? No, it's fine. Councillor Bromwich.
I was just wondering, any progression with local member Thomas George on our last meeting's motion to transfer the health services?
I haven't. I spoke to our state member only a fortnight ago, and that was raised, and he'll keep us in the loop as where that goes. So thank you for the question, Councillor. Councillor John Martin.
Would it be possible to include in the register all unacted resolutions over the years, slowly starting to record them, so then council can re-look at those issues that haven't been resolved in the past?
Council, if I can, acting coming. This is to do with what we're dealing with. These resolutions are resolutions this council has made.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay, so please respect what I'm going to say. You're talking about something totally different. You might think different, but because this is how we followed the progress of this. And I fully support the bringing forward this. I think it's a good system we use. So you keep up to date. And the exact part of the meeting we're in now, where councillors can make comment or ask about something that in this resolution, not from years ago.
Yeah, right.
So, if you need, I'm sure that if you want to bring that forward as a notice of motion or something in the future, I'm sure that our acting would help you, along those lines if it's forward. Okay.
things forward.
Councillor, once again, I'm trying to do with Nolene, our PA, and thank you, Nolene. There is council registers going back some way. By making an appointment, you're more than welcome to respectfully, can you make an appointment or a time and go and have a look at them? Am I correct in saying that? Thank you. You've got the right to do that. Any more questions to do with the resolution register? To acting? Okay. Councillors, all happy to receive a note? Against? Carried? Thank you. Righto. Bear with me, councillors. Councillors, early in the meeting, we've done our resolution register. We decided to have a workshop before we moved into confidential. Okay, the workshop is in confidential. So if you'd like to move now that we move into our workshop, and I'll need two motions, one that we move into the workshop and the other that we move into confidential. Because it's 15:15, I did say 1 o'clock, and we'll deal with it if we're up to as far as the workshop goes when we get to our lunch break. We all happy with that? Okay. So if someone would like to move, do we move into confidential? Councillor Berry? Well, that's two separate motions. Yeah. Second, please. Councillor Murray, thank you. All in favour? Against? Carried. And that we have our confidential workshop. So move there, please. Councillor Peters, thank you. Second, please. Councillor Sawyer, thank you. All in favour? Against? Carried. Okay, councillors, now we're in our workshop. Yeah. Be good.
Because you've got a minute.
Thank you, Noel.
Because you've got a minute.
Thank you, Noel. Okay, councillors, we're now in open. It's been moved by Councillor Mike Vickery, seconded by Councillor Gary Berry. We moved out of confidential. I did vote on that. All in favour, didn't I? Yes. Thank you. So now we'll announce what's come out of the meetings that would to reference of again the confirmation of the previous meetings, the confidential minutes of the extraordinary meeting. Council on Thursday, 11th of May, has to do with the, bear with me, include the changes below. We've made those corrections, councillors, they're on the board there. But the motion was not voted on as the Mayor advised, as item 1, 2, 3A were in place, and that 3A, Councillor Brumman Petrie agreed to lay on the table until after the legal council workshop. That's carried. So that's the correction. Maybe confirm the sign as a true record of proceedings of those meetings. Sale of industrial land, the recommendation is agreed to proceed with the sale, Council 1, agreed to proceed with the sale of land along option A as stated in the report section of this confidential report, and 2, Council use Barter Perry Lawyers to undertake this transaction, and 3, approve the signing of all legal documents by the Mayor and Chief Executive Officer under the seal of Council. Under the second item, councillors, which is item EC 06/17, Officer's recommendation that Council award tender 02-16/17 supply backhoe loader to Construction Equipment Australia for supply and delivery of a 217 JCB 3CX Classic, inclusive of trade of Council's existing plant unit 71, for a net changeover cost of $164,340 GST exclusive. Sorry. Inclusive. Sorry. Okay. Councillors, with the next item to do with the confidential, it's item EC 07/17 to do with the float trailer. Officer's recommendation that 1, award tender 08-16/17 supply of float trailer to Modern Transport Engineers Australia Limited for the supply and delivery of the 217 3RLLDW float trailer, excluding trade of Council's existing plant unit 137 for a cost of $188,755 GST inclusive, and further 2, accept the offer from Semi Trailer Sales Limited for the outright purchase of Council's existing unit 137 for the sum of $38,500 GST inclusive. To the fourth item, councillors, Item EC08/17, tilt crane truck. Officer's recommendation, the council award tender 09/1617, supply tilt crane truck to Woombar Truck Centre for supply and delivery of 217 Fuso FC52 8x4 heavy tilt crane truck, including trade of council existing plan unit 10 for a cost of $408,130.91, GST inclusive. The final item is to do with item GOV 3117, deed of release, that the recommendation of council endorse the terms of deed of release as outlined in this report. Councillors, we have come to the end of the meeting. Thank you all very much for a very good, very long and good day. Thank you, Mr. Bruce McCann, for your involvement, and it's much appreciated to our new senior staff. Welcome and thank you, and our acting, and I wish everybody well. The meeting is ended. Peace and harmony. Thank you.